Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to the show. I'm Some Dumb American. Of course, with us as always is Scribe. Say hi, Scribe.
Hi, Scribe.
The lovely Ranting Monkey is also joining us tonight with a special guest. Say hi.
Say hi.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Oh, so cute.
What was that?
That was Scribe.
I was making noise. I'm sorry, Grand Monkey.
Here, can you hear?
I can't hear.
Hello.
Okay, she has the headphones, so you guys say hi to her so she can hear you.
Hi.
Do you hear
Hi.
them?
Hi, Grand Monkey. It's Scribe. How are you tonight?
Can you tell them how you are today?
I can't.
You can't?
Oh, you
Hi,
can't.
Grand Monkey. How are you? No.
Are you good?
I didn't.
She's nervous. It's okay.
Okay, can I take my headphones back? Okay. Say hi, chat.
Hi, cat.
She's so cute. So, is there anything we need to talk about before we get into the news?
Maybe.
Okay, what's up?
Well, I don't know. The title is kind of a spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah. I'll say it at YouTube time. I'll say it
Okay.
again at YouTube time, but I did launch my new
Okay.
channel where I talk about writing and stuff, and there's a video up about my book. So, there's the first link in the description. Go subscribe. I'll show it at YouTube time as well. So yeah. Other than that, that's all I have.
Any Grand Monkey stories today, Monkey?
No, she was watched by her aunt while I slept all day on the couch. I am sick and sore, so.
Oh, no.
That's all right. Turn the light back on, goofball.
I can't.
Yes, you can. You just turn. This child.
Yay.
I didn't. I don't know how. Monkey Dick, Jim Jones movies. Hit that like button if you have not already, and share our stuff, like a bad disease or a good disease. Like mono.
How is
We do
mono
have
good
one
to
more
see?
announcement. Are we doing that now, or are we waiting a little while?
I think SDA said she wanted to do it at YouTube time.
Okay.
Wait, I don't even know what you guys are
She
talking
doesn't know this announcement, dude.
Oh, she doesn't know this announcement?
She
No.
doesn't know this
Oh.
announcement.
That was about
That's
me.
Oh, okay. Do you want to do this, Monkey, or shall I?
You go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, everyone, for those of you that may or may not have been in suspense, starting next Monday, the third chair, so to speak, of Lords of the Night will be occupied for the time being and probably in perpetuity by Satsu 2 Cents.
Yay!
So
Yeah.
Monday nights and Thursday nights, tune in to Satsu's channel next week, starting next week. And we'll be sure to remind of this probably every night this week just to make sure everybody's on the same page. But there you go. The Lords of the Night starting next Monday will be Ranting Monkey, Scribelight, and Satsu 2 Cents. There you go.
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys.
Me too. I love Satsu.
Yeah, I do too. I absolutely adore him. He's honestly and Monkey can vouch for this. Whenever we have Satsu as a guest, I probably get the most excited for Satsu nights. So, yeah. I don't have any other announcements.
Okay. Well, I can get into the schnuzz then. Unless
I would like to announce the child has turned the light back on.
Oh, okay, good. I was about to ask. Do we have any more commentary from Grand Monkey before we begin?
No, I believe she's occupying herself now.
Okay. Well, if we need to break in with some Grand Monkey news, you just let us know.
Terry Diamantis, apparently I can't send a super chat for 2 cents.
Har, har. Okay, well, let's see. The big news today. The Supreme Court will not hear the Trump bid to end the DACA program. at least not for now.
So yeah, I saw this headline repeatedly, and it's kind of a misnomer. That's not exactly what they said.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll go into the details here. The Supreme Court said on Monday that it will stay out of the dispute concerning the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program for now, meaning participants will still be able to renew their status. The move will also lessen pressure on Congress to act on a permanent solution for DACA and its roughly 700,000 participants, undocumented immigrants who came to the U.S. as children. Originally, President Donald Trump had terminated DACA, but allowed a 6-month grace period for anyone with status expiring in that window to renew. After that date, March 5th, any DACA recipient whose status expired would no longer be able to receive protections. Monday's action by the court, submitted without comment from the justices, is not a ruling on the merits of the DACA program or the Trump administration's effort to end it. At issue is a ruling by Federal District Judge William Alsup of the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California, who blocked the plan to end DACA and held that the Trump administration must resume accepting renewal applications. The action means the case will continue going through the lower courts. Alsup said a nationwide injunction was, quote, appropriate, unquote, because, quote, our country has a strong interest in the uniform application of immigration law and policy. Plaintiffs have established injury that reaches beyond the geographical bounds of the Northern District of California. The problem affects every state and territory of the United States, he wrote. The Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals has generally allowed nationwide injunctions against the Trump administration actions from lower court judges under this president to stand, meaning the DACA program could be spared a year or more until the Supreme Court could take up the case in next year's term, given the likely realities of the calendar. So there you go.
Yeah, they're just not hearing this judge or going to argue this judge's verdict. They're going to let it go to the full appellate court before it goes up any higher.
Right.
But it's being reported everywhere as the Supreme Court rejects it. What's up, baby?
Hurt my knee.
How'd you hurt your
no!
knee? What'd you do? Oh, are you going to show me? Oh, yeah. Do you need a Band-Aid? Go tell Grandma.
Grandma!
Oh, man.
She's been very loud today.
Okay, yeah, I can tell.
Yeah, ultimately, I suppose we'll see what happens in the lower courts, etc. And ultimately, it's going to go to the Supreme Court again. I don't see how it doesn't, because it's not like the Trump administration is not going to keep appealing it.
Sure, sure.
But I don't see how you can retain an executive order when another president has effectively voided it.
Go up there to her and get your Band-Aid, Goofy. Okay. Sorry, she's screaming up the stairs at Grandma to bring it to her.
It's okay. Yeah, but anyway, I don't think this lasts in the long run unless, if you set the precedent that a presidential executive order once passed is forever law.
Yeah,
that's a dangerous thing. The DACA thing aside, it's more emotionally involved because it deals with people who are, effectively victims of other people's circumstances or other people's choices. So sure, but the core of this is the president said this shall be law without any other procedures that we would normally consider as part of the legislative process. If they uphold this, they're effectively upholding any executive order the president makes now into the future, which effectively makes him a king. So,
yes.
Ultimately, I think it fails.
Real quick, thank you, Snubberth. Sounds like stalling till the next election.
Actually, it's not. There is a good reason not to overturn just the judge. There's other stories out there that tell you the only time you'll see the Supreme Court jump on a case like this is when it's there's something of national importance, which we've had DACA for years, so it's hard to argue that letting it go for a little bit longer is going to be a major change to everything. Yes, it needs to be stopped, in my opinion, but it's not a stall just for the election. It's more that the Supreme Court wants to let the appellate court have their say. And then I'm with Scribe. Once it hits the Supreme Court, if it goes that far, I don't see it being held up because, yeah, you've just made a king out of a president.
The only hitch I could see is how does the representatives for the president, they can't make that argument necessarily because that undercuts any executive order, even those imposed by Trump. So I think the justices would have to come to that conclusion on their own. Otherwise, yeah, it'll be an interesting debate when it finally gets to the Supreme Court for reals.
I will be right with you guys.
Oh, okay. He has to battle with the Grand Monkey.
No worries.
Maybe Grand Monkey has a mortal injury on her knee.
I don't think she does. I think
she needs a smooch from Grandpa to make it better.
She's all right.
Let's see. Well, shall I kill some time before Monkey gets back, or shall we continue?
No, just continue.
Okay. So this is a story that is kind of in SDA's backyard, I suppose. Georgia Republicans threaten to stop Delta tax break over NRA decision.
I saw that. That amuses the shit out of me. I'm sorry. It's just funny.
Delta Airlines' decision to cut ties with the NRA could cost it a generous tax break from the state of Georgia. The state's Republicans, including a major candidate for governor, are threatening to kill part of a bill that would eliminate a state tax on jet fuel. If it passes, the provision is expected to save the Atlanta-based airline tens of millions of dollars. Quote, "We felt it was wrong for them to single out one company," said Chuck Hofstetler, chairman of the state's Senate Finance Committee. Delta on Saturday announced it would end discounted rates for National Rifle Association members. Hofstetler told CNN on Monday that if the airline does not reverse its stance on the NRA soon, he and others would push for the tax break to be stripped from the bill. The bill still needs to pass the Senate before it can be signed into law. Yeah. If Delta holds its ground, he added, quote, "I don't think the bill will pass as it is," unquote.
Thank you, Cryptic. Why do I have to say this every damn time? No papers means you get your ass home and wait in line. I mean, the only thing that I could see this being an issue is like, well, it's a tax break, not the one that's not already implemented, so it won't affect Delta currently. But I don't know. I'm all right with it.
Yeah, it's $40 million they wouldn't have had to pay before this. Let's put it that way.
No, the tax break is in the new bill.
Well, I know, but I mean, if this hadn't happened, they'd be getting or saving $40 million.
Yeah, they would be. But, yeah. I can see why they're doing it. I mean, Georgia is definitely a pro-NRA state. So, they're not going to, the government is not going to receive any kind of backlash for that.
Let's see, anything else on here? Nope, not really. Okay, what else we got? We have some Florida news, I guess, because there was a proposal to ban weapons today that failed.
Right.
Let's see. As sheriff comes under scrutiny, proposal to ban certain weapons fails in Florida. An amendment to a Florida bill that would have banned weapons like the one used in the Parkland school shooting failed Monday amid growing cries for accountability and reform after the February 14th massacre. Hundreds of Floridians converged on the state capitol in Tallahassee on Monday as lawmakers took up a series of proposals after the deadly shooting. One bill included an amendment that would ban assault-style rifles like the one used by the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School shooter. Senate Bill 7022, which lets law enforcement seize firearms from people under certain conditions, advanced without the amendment. Demonstrators in orange shirts signifying gun safety chanted "shame" and "vote them out" in response to the vote. The rally unfolded as criticism grew toward law enforcement's response to the deadly shooting. It was the second time since the shooting that protesters visited the Capitol to pressure lawmakers into action. Where students last week sought conversations and lobbied for a variety of demands, Rally and Tally. Oh, that's what they're calling it. The Rally and Tally participants listed as one of the group's aims a permanent ban on assault-style rifles. Carly Schwam, a high school student from Boca Raton, said the time had come for a ban on semi-automatic weapons. Quote, "It's about time we make actual change," Schwam said. "This tragedy hit so close to home." In addition to SB 7022, two more proposals advanced, one related to school district policies for active shooters and another banning the release of a crime victim's address on school grounds. Okay. SB 722 is not perfect, Parkland Mayor Christine Hunschofsky said, but it's better than nothing. Hunschofsky. That's that. Weibo, is that a relative of yours? Anyway.
So they want to ban all semi-automatic weapons?
That's what it read. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah, good luck with that.
It sounded like that to me too. I mean, the other thing about this is that, and I'm going to make a video about this, because this is so stupid. People are mad at the wrong thing regarding this shooting, because a lot of the things that this kid did that people were reporting him for are actually felonies, you know, like mutilating animals and terroristic threats. These are things that would bar him from purchasing a gun legally. And so had they actually followed up on this or done their job, law enforcement, he wouldn't have been able to get a gun in the first place. The gun is not the problem. It's just not. At least not in this case.
Yeah, the law enforcement down there is, I mean, we already talked about the FBI. Between the FBI and the local cops and everything else, so many different ways this thing could have been prevented from happening ahead of time. It's not like some other shootings where there was no warning, or at least nothing actionable, and somebody just snapped. There was a whole chain of things. And yeah, I mean, the debate over guns has been going strong for decades now. This might have been the straw that broke the camel's back as far as something happening, but it's happening for the... It's not... whatever happens now could not have prevented, if we're talking retroactively, what happened in Florida. So anyway.
No. Thank you, Cryptic. If they can ban one type of single-shot rifle, they can ban them all. This is a Trojan horse to ban all weapons. It's not going to go through. People in general do not support weapons bans like these. They just don't. The general populace does not. And anybody who is informed about this situation knows that, you know, like I said, the guns are just not the issue. Not here. So, you know, I mean, did this get a couple of kids into activism? Which is actually kind of odd to me, how quickly these kids went from being traumatized to being like totally fine with being in front of like millions of people and becoming political activists. I do think that's a little weird. I'm not saying like they weren't there or anything. I'm not saying that. I think the behavior is a little bit odd, but yeah, I mean, like a gun ban wouldn't have fixed this at all. And, you know, and gun bans are not popular, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Well, I'm just to be devil's advocate. I could see the argument that the activism is in and of itself a coping mechanism. Maybe. I mean, they are acting more out of emotion than they are reason in a lot of the interviews they've been doing. So I'm not saying that makes it okay to be using them as political pawns or anything, but that they would gravitate towards something other than just being sad or shocked or traumatized makes a little bit of sense, maybe.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree, but, you know, it is what it is.
All right. And lastly, a bit of entertainment news, sort of. I think maybe Monkey will get more out of this in the long term, but Heather Locklear has been arrested following a domestic dispute.
Oh, she beat up somebody?
Oh, yeah. And her mugshot is entirely unflattering.
Nice.
Of course, she's not exactly the spring chicken she used to be. Excuse me. Actress Heather Locklear was arrested on Sunday night following suspected domestic incident. How about following a suspected domestic incident, CNN? You're really screwing up with your small words today. You left out two on a headline on the front page, which I tweeted out. And now this. Chris Eliza, seriously, get on the ball. following a suspected domestic incident that took place at her home, according to police. Locklear, best known for her role on 90s primetime soap opera Melrose Place, was booked on 1 count of felony domestic battery and 3 counts of battery for allegedly attacking 3 responding Ventura County Sheriff's deputies, according to Sergeant Eric Bushkow. Police were called to Locklear's home in Thousand Oaks, California, shortly after 9:30 p.m. on Sunday night regarding a domestic incident between Locklear and her boyfriend. Locklear was taken into custody after deputies found evidence to support the claim that Locklear had battered her boyfriend, causing injury. Bushow said Locklear was extremely uncooperative and physically combative with responding deputies. Locklear was booked early Monday morning following a brief visit to the hospital. Her bail was set as $20,000.
Nice, good job.
Yeah, that's the second sort of celebrity news today. The other one was that Bill Cosby's daughter died.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, 44. Now I remember when I saw that I was like, oh shit, because he already lost a son. His son was killed in a robbery attempt many years ago.
Yeah.
And now his daughter, 44, I think was her age, died of renal failure or renal disease, like her kidneys gave out. So,
Thank you, Snubber. FBI really slipping lately, trying to deplatform a president and missed a shooter. # Team CIA.
Yes, the CIA will save us. Other than that, I don't have any other stories queued up unless you guys know stuff.
I do not. We can go to MSS News.
Okay. Guys, if you have news stories you'd like us to read on the air, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSSNews.
Did we do Monkey Dick Jim Jones movies? Now we have.
Yes.
Yeah, I did. Okay, so what do we have here? Let me scroll down a bit so we can get into everybody's stuffs here. Oh boy, a guy with a bunch of tattoos on his face. So that can't go wrong with that. This comes from senior staff reporter and chief Florida correspondent Colleen Bernier. I believe it is a Florida man. Yes. Okay, this murder involved a skillet, an amputated hand, and Walmart bags on a head, cops say.
The fuck is going on in Florida?
A Florida man is charged with first-degree murder after a brutal beating during which cops say he used his fists, an aluminum bat, and at least one skillet. Winter Haven's Christopher Taylor, 30, sits in Polk County Jail on charges of first-degree murder, perjury, and tampering with physical evidence. He's being held without bond on the murder charge. Taylor lives with Christina Sluss, 36, in an apartment above his 21-year-old brother Gary Taylor's apartment. Now all three have their own spaces in the Polk County Jail. Sluss and Gary Taylor each on charges of tampering with physical evidence and being an accessory after the fact. Okay? According to the arrest report, the mini mystery that ended with the trio in jail started February 12th, when a citrus company worker found Douglas Bowling's body in a grove. 6 Walmart bags covered Bowling's head. On that head, the medical examiner found 7 L-shaped lacerations.
Jesus
5 on the top left of Bowling's head, 1 on his forehead, 1 by his left eye. Also, Bowling's right hand had been cut off at the wrist, but the medical examiner determined that happened after Bowling was dead. Bowling, 47, had been on probation for fraud since December after renting an LG 4K TV and 2 Samsung cell phones earlier in 2017, but making only a fraction of the payments. His arrest report listed a home address, but the Polk County Sheriff's Department says he'd recently been living in a homeless camp around Winter Haven. He rode a bike that was a rolling pile of parts. Okay. Gee, this is an epic. Holy shit.
Real quick, thank you, Brandon Braxton, some dumb subscriber. Lols.
Yeah, this goes on for like 2 more pages, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway,
is this like real? Because
yeah, no, this is a real story out of the Miami Herald.
Very gruesome.
Yeah, this sounds like a plot for a movie. So I'll set this aside if we get some downtime during deep topic territory. I'll read some more, but
yeah, that's why I asked, because I'm like, that sounds Not that it
Florida
sounds
man.
fake, it just sounds like something somebody would write in a book or something.
Several people sent us this one. The one I'm looking at is from Ninth Life Cat. Kevin Smith had a massive heart attack.
Oh, I saw that yesterday.
Yeah, he had done a show. He canceled the second show after he felt woozy or something, went to the hospital, found out he had a major heart attack. Apparently he had a complete blockage of one of his arteries. And if he hadn't gone to the hospital when he did, he'd be dead now. There's not much more to it than that. He tweeted out that from his hospital bed, like, I'm still above ground. But there you go. 3 steps away from death for Kevin Smith. What else?
Well, I think the moral of that story is like, if you feel shitty or something, you feel like you need to go to the doctor or whatever, do it.
What's this? Okay, this one comes from Ellie the Enthusiastic Elephant. The picture alone tells me this has to be interesting. Guy accidentally shoots himself in the face after bullet ricochets off an armadillo.
Okay.
Don't shoot at armadillos. There are many, many good reasons not to own a gun. Here is yet another one. Okay. Time and time again, researchers have found that people who own firearms are far more likely to injure or kill themselves than be shot by someone else.
No shit. Just like people who own pools are more likely to drown. Duh.
In fact, a University of Pennsylvania study revealed that gun owners are 4.5 times more likely to be shot than non-carriers. Adding to this important body of research, this is the authors talking, by the way, I would hazard a guess that dickheads who shoot at armadillos are exponentially more likely to accidentally shoot themselves in the face than people who don't shoot at armadillos.
Yeah, sure.
A Texas man, obviously, in parentheses, has had to have his jaw wired shut and be airlifted to a hospital after he shot an armadillo in his backyard, and the bullet legit ricocheted off the animal's hard shell and into his face. This is high journalism here. Cass County Sheriff.
Where is this from?
This is from
BuzzFeed?
techly.com.au.
All right, you sure it's not it's an offshoot of BuzzFeed? Because holy crap.
Could be. Let's see. Cass County Sheriff Larry Rowe told the media, quote, his wife was in the house. He went outside and took his .38 revolver and shot 3 times at the armadillo. What he didn't count on was the animal's carapace, its impossibly hard outer shell made up of thousands of bone plates to protect it from predators and dickheads with guns. Yeah, so there you go. Be careful when you shoot an armadillo. Shoot him in the face.
Yeah, aim for the face, guys.
Yeah. If you're going to shoot one at all. What's this? We talked about that one. Okay, we talked about the Dutch party that banned the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this
well,
one
I just want to run by this research that I found with you guys real quick. Did you know that people who own dogs are more likely to be bitten by dogs?
No, I don't believe that.
I know. It's crazy. It's almost like being near something makes it more likely for it to, I don't know, it's just a thought.
This comes from Pissed Off Shih Tzu. If this is true, this is weird. Defense attorneys hint at blaming acne drug to defend Longmont teen charged with murder.
Haven't they tried that before?
I've heard of the Twinkie defense. Of course, that was the when Mayor Moscone was killed in I think it was San Francisco. I've heard of stranger things, than this, but I suppose acne drug is one possibility. Attorneys for the 15-year-old accused of stabbing a Longmont woman to death last year hinted in court Friday that Accutane, an acne treatment drug that some have linked to erratic behavior, may be, and I have to pay if I want to read the rest of the story. So, thank you, Denver Post.
Thank you, Timothy Seelbeck. I call bullshit. I have shot many armadillos with a 22, with 22s, and have never had a ricochet.
You're lucky.
Yeah, maybe you were shooting him in the right place. Maybe you got the video game weak spot or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because
So
I've heard of stories where, shooting an armadillo has quite literally backfired on people.
So I can't read the rest of that story, but you get the gist. You know, they haven't actually presented that defense yet, but that might be oncoming.
They're gonna blame a drug. Yeah.
Oh, okay. This one comes from Jack the motherfucking Cockring. But it's a babe.net story, which is becoming a new favorite of mine. Georgetown student plasters hundreds of flyers around campus accusing a classmate of rape. Oh, good. That's how you handle these things, by the way. A student at Georgetown is accused of raping a female classmate in flyers handed out all over campus. More than 300 flyers were printed out by the male student's accuser, complete with his picture and a phone number to call for more information. His fraternity confirmed to babe.net that he's currently on suspension in light of the accusation, a status that could lead to his permanent expulsion. Although the flyers were removed within 24 hours by friends of the accused, they had already widely circulated on Snapchat and dominated student conversation. The male student named in these flyers did not respond to repeated requests for comment. Well, I'm not surprised. It began when a female junior was speaking to her roommate earlier this month. They had a conversation where it appeared that they had been assaulted by the same man. The junior asked to remain anonymous for her own safety, so in this article, we've called her Jasmine. Okay, quote, I thought if...
Jackie?
Not Jackie. Jackie had been taken. Quote, I thought if flyers were put out with the hotline, girls who have been assaulted by him can come forward with it, Jasmine says.
What a fucking cunt. I'm sorry. Like, okay, if you were actually assaulted by somebody, that's terrible. Go to the police, okay? Like, go to the proper authorities. You don't just harass somebody, you know, like you don't fucking do that. And I'm sorry, like I call fucking bullshit on this, you know, whatever. Thank you, Ace Phoenix. Spots on your smush cookie, try Accutane. Yeah, like you don't just go mob justice because you've just accused him of sexually assaulting somebody, multiple people, and he's now having his life turned upside down, and we have no idea if this is actually true. We don't know what the situation is because it hasn't been handled by the proper authorities. And you know what? Maybe she doesn't want to go that route because she knows that that's not going to work because there's not enough evidence. And so mob justice, guilty, even if you're proven innocent, doesn't matter, I guess. I don't know. Fucked up.
I'm sorry. And maybe this is just because I'm a man and I don't understand it. How do you just start casually having a conversation about being raped by the same guy?
Well, I could see it. I could see it like, you know, somebody confides in their friend, hey, this thing happened to me, and they go like, oh, that happened to me too with him or something. I could imagine it, but of course I can imagine quite a bit.
It's genuinely something. It's a conversation I've had with someone.
Okay. Let's see. She printed out full color flyers with the words, have you seen this rapist? Splashed across a photo of him at the Capitol building, encouraging people to call a phone number to share their stories.
That is just like, first of all, that's a really great way to incite violence against somebody. But also, you know, I wouldn't want to be you when that slander lawsuit comes knocking.
No shit.
Or the college, even. I don't know. Maybe you could sue the college as well. I'm not sure. But I would be suing the fuck out of everybody if I were him.
Let's see. Jasmine then had her brother, sister, and friend drive from New York City to Washington, D.C. on Saturday night and distribute 300 flyers around campus. According to a police report seen by Babe, Jasmine's siblings were caught after midnight by Georgetown cops and banned from returning. They face a fine up to $1,000 and a potential 6-month imprisonment if they come back. Jasmine says since posting them, 3 women have contacted her to share similar experiences, which they've also reported to Georgetown's Title IX office. How about the police? What does the Title IX office have to do with it?
The police need evidence. That's why
yeah.
Title IX is being used that way now.
Yeah. Let's see. Georgetown students are in an uproar about the flyers. A sophomore who asked to remain anonymous told Babe she saw the flyers being put up around campus on Saturday night. Quote, they were literally everywhere, she says. They were also posted on people's Snapchats. The flyers were put out everywhere, but by the next morning, they were all gone. I was extremely surprised by it. A lot of people are talking about it. A male student who also asked to remain anonymous because he is in the same fraternity says the flyers have received a lot of attention, blah, blah, blah. Some of my friends went around trying to take them down from where they were posted, he explained. Without knowing anything about the facts of the case, it strikes me as a horribly irresponsible way of resolving whatever dispute is taking place. I can only imagine it will lead to a very long, unpleasant legal process that both sides of the dispute would do better to avoid. Obviously, if the accusations are false, this seems like defamation of character. If they are true, this was not the way to go about resolving them. Very good. Anyway, that's the gist. What else do we have? We talked about that. It's a video. We talked about Bill Cosby's daughter. What's this? Okay. This one comes from Mike Unstinks. Unstinks? Unstinks. That's the way. This is another Miami Herald story. Poop in the oven, live rodents, dead rodents.
All right, hold on. Before we get into that, thank you, Mr. Baker. SDA unjustly muted me, and I demand reparations. Reparations for Mr. Baker. Yeah, I'm really, really sorry about that. Like you said in the comments on the last stream, it might have been one of those nights that Ian Cantor was going nuts because you did say that you were mimicking him, and I can see how myself or one of the other mods would have just like rage banned you. So I am sorry that happened, and I'm glad that we got it resolved. But yeah. All right, whatever that is, continue, I guess.
Poop in the oven, live rodents, dead rodents, and 12 restaurants are shut down. Quote, observed live rodent on glue trap under dry storage shelving near chest freezer, unquote. And away we go. Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy ride across rodents and rodent droppings noted on recent state restaurant inspections in Miami-Dade and Broward counties. A long one, too, as a record 16 establishments make this the rodent report. And the quantity is matched by lack of quality. 2 places were shut down on reinspection after passing inspection, and 2 restaurants got shut down twice in this report. And then there's a long list of restaurants if you live in Miami, Broward County or something that apparently the health
you don't want to eat there.
Yeah, don't eat there. Hell, you know, at this point, given the sheriff's office and everything else, just stay away from Broward County altogether.
Yeah, I guess. Like, what the fuck? What are they doing? Jesus tap dancing Christ. Por qué? Yeah, por qué? I don't just... And maybe it's because we're now looking for it, but it just seems like every single law enforcement story out of Florida is just like, Florida law enforcement completely incompetent. I mean, not that the federal law enforcement was any more competent, but still. A lot of incompetence going around. We've got some time, though, so I guess get into, if we have stories backlogged, I'm sure we do.
Let's see. I'm looking
now.
Here.
I saw on Twitter, and I don't know if this is true. So can somebody verify for me?
Okay.
Did David Hogg actually say he's not going back to school until gun control is passed?
I don't. I haven't actually seen that. I don't know.
So that was the story that I retweeted out here. I'll read the story as it's. This comes from Breitbart. David Hogg vows not to return to school until lawmakers pass gun control. Parkland school shooting survivor David Hogg says he will not return. Hogg made the comments Sunday during a gun control rally held at Temple B'nai Abraham in Livingston, New Jersey. The New York Daily News reports that Hogg said, quote, I'm not going back to school on Wednesday until one bill is passed, unquote. He did not specify which law he wants most, only that he is not going back until at least one law garners the support of lawmakers. He said, quote, literally any legislation at this point would be a success, considering the fact that so few legislators in Florida met with us and they want the people to forget That's disgusting. The fact that they want people to forget about this and elect them again as the child murderers they are, that's unacceptable, and we're not going to let that happen,
I
unquote.
don't think he knows how murder works. And I mean, as somebody who has witnessed some murder, he should have a better idea of how it works.
Am I the only one who has a problem with them calling him a survivor so often?
Why?
To me, a survivor is somebody who like got shot or.
I don't have a problem with it because I would, like if we would say like 9/11 or something like I would say that like a 9/11 survivor is just somebody who was there, like in the buildings or whatever and got out. So I'm not against saying he was a survivor. I am against saying he's a teenage survivor, therefore everything he says is correct. I don't agree with that, but I mean, I don't know. What does chat think? What do you think about the word survivor? I mean, I would say it's semantics, but it's really not, because I get what you mean.
We wouldn't say a breast cancer survivor is somebody who knew somebody with breast cancer.
Yeah, but
he wasn't shot.
But
he was at his school. But I mean, yeah, okay.
Yeah, like it's kind of semantic-y. Like for example, with like rape survivor is another example of something that I actually think is kind of a silly way to put it. Because unless like your life is actually in danger while you're being raped, then you're not really a survivor. But in this case, I would go with he's a survivor. I mean, look, is he wrong about gun control? Yes. It doesn't change the fact that his school got shot up and there was a very real possibility that he and a whole bunch of his friends could have died or been seriously injured.
Okay, how about one more from Colleen Bernier? One more Florida story. 2 arrested in Seekonk. I guess that's a place in Seekonk.
Real quick, just before you get too far into that. From what I read, he was not in the same wing as the shooter. Take that into account, or I could be wrong. Yeah, again, it's to me, I understand calling him a survivor because, like I said, everybody in that school was in immediate danger, and even if it was just your school, it's still very traumatic, and again, you could have died. So I'm not against calling him a survivor personally. Obviously, discuss in the comments, but that's just how I feel. Sorry, continue.
2 arrested in Seekonk after officer finds 7 chickens in a backpack.
Why?
I have a guess as to why. They were attempting to resolve the situation in the UK with KFC. That's my guess.
Fix that shit.
Seekonk, Massachusetts. 2 people were charged overnight with stealing chickens from a local farm in Seekonk after police stopped their vehicle and found the chickens in a backpack. In a post on their Facebook page, Seekonk police say they recently had reports chickens and ducks were being stolen from local farms. They say last night an officer on patrol noticed a suspicious vehicle near a farm around 1 a.m. Police say the officer encountered a male and female in the vehicle. The vehicle had several chicken feathers throughout and a backpack in the back seat that appeared to be moving. They say the officer saw a feather and then a whole chicken wing poke through an opening in the backpack. When the officer opened the backpack, he found 7 chickens inside. The chickens appeared to be unharmed and were returned to the owner. The 2 suspects were charged with larceny and animal cruelty. Their names have not been released. Okay.
They have chicken thieves running around.
Yeah, that sounds very old-timey. That sounds very quaint.
It does.
We have any cattle rustlers left over?
They're chicken rustlers now.
Let's see. And how about one more before we cut it off? G Prime of, I forget what the original name was, but it says G Prime Mirrorverse Sinestro Core. Whatever floats your boat, I suppose. And Okay, this is another Breitbart story. Parent backlash as cross-dressing men sent into primary schools to promote tolerance.
Well,
Sorry. I'm sorry. It's just, my brain just immediately went to, a lispy gay guy being like, "Hi, guys," or whatever. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, super chat.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't looking at the screen. Thank you, Gregory Hurst. If we just legalized and taxed chickens, we could end all this violence and save money.
yes.
Let's see. So parents have hit out at a Bristol primary school's decision to bring drag queens in to condition young children against hate crime. Concerned families told the Bristol Post that Parsons Street Primary School was going, quote, a step too far, unquote, in inviting drag queen story time to read books promoting alternative lifestyles to their children. Quote, lots of parents at the school are not happy about it, but the headmaster says there's no negotiation. He said if we don't like it, we should take our kids out of school on an unauthorized absence, a mother who wished to remain anonymous told the newspaper. Quote, there are books dotted around the school about sexuality. They learn a lot about LGBTQ plus in school, and that's fine, but I think it's just gone too far now, and the headmaster is using his position of power and influence to push this information on the children. I don't think it was fine to begin with when you got little kids around. The curriculum of Parsons Street Primary School is live and learn, with the syllabus focusing on, quote, preparing children to live in an ever-changing and diverse world, according to the Bristol Post. The academy was the first school in Bristol to be awarded gold practice status by Educate and Celebrate, a nationwide program which demands schools inject content promoting LGBT lifestyles in everything they do.
I have a problem with that.
This sounds very extreme. I understand promoting the value of, don't beat people up just because you feel like it. I completely understand that. But this sounds excessive.
Well, there's a difference between promoting inclusivity or tolerance and promoting LGBT.
Right. Well, because I don't, sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I don't think anybody here, either the three of us or even people in chat are against saying, you don't beat people up, you don't exclude people or be terrible to people just because of their sexual orientation, how they choose to dress, whatever, right? But there's a difference between teaching, in my opinion, neutral inclusivity and promoting certain ways of life. And it's kind of an issue, I think, with LGBT representation in media, right? You can't just have a gay guy who's just a guy who happens to be gay. He has to be a gay guy, and that has to be his entire arc, right?
Yeah, they're bringing in drag queens, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, and I think the LGBT community has done a piss poor job of presenting themselves as just normal people who happen to have different, who happen to date the same sex, which I think would do everybody a lot more good in the long run as far as acceptance goes. Whereas when you pull stunts like this, all you're doing is showing people that you're almost dehumanizing yourself in a way, because you're showing people that you're kind of just this like a show dog, pretty much. And instead of being these are just normal people, you have drag queens coming in and cross-dressers, and it doesn't do anything good for the LGBT community as a whole. It just doesn't.
I think this principal just likes to cross-dress.
Backscan said, but the gay pride parade is so classy. Yeah, that's something else that is not doing the gays any favors. Because like I said, I think that they would be much better served to promote the idea that gay people are just normal people who date people of the same sex. I mean, that just, because that integrates you into the population. Thank you. Nope. I'm just setting up my coworker's computer to think to think he is blind, so his computer reads every piece of text on the screen and just starts as soon as he logs in. Nope. That is...
Get him, nope. Isn't Nope the one who fucked with his coworker's
I believe
mouse?
so. Yes. Yeah. Nope. You're gonna get yourself fired, hun. Yeah. No. The other thing is that what I've noticed personally is that a lot of the really crazy LGBT stuff is not necessarily gay guys, but it's like lesbians and non-binary people.
Oh yeah.
Rather, or like, or girls who are like, I'm pansexual, therefore I'm not straight because I'm non-binary or whatever. So like I'm seeing it more on the lesbian crazy side of things, but we all know that lesbians are nuts. So yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but I don't think that this is good for the gays as a whole.
Well, shall we call it there? That's usually the...
Yeah, sorry. So, on to YouTube time? Nope. Thank you. Monkey, maybe so. Yeah, so YouTube time. I actually do have a really big announcement. I started another channel for writing stuff, so where I talk about my book, writing advice, that kind of stuff, and it's linked in the description below. It's the first link. Go subscribe. Go watch the video after the stream because you guys have asked me a ton of questions about Livescraft, which is coming out on April 21st, 2018. And I answer the ones that you guys have asked me the most. And if you have any other questions about it, you can either wait till the end of the stream or just ask them in the comments of that video, and I'll get back to you guys. So that's exciting. I'll upload videos every Monday and Wednesday on that channel, and I also have another video that I'm working on for this channel, like what we've been talking about, how it's not the NRA's fault that the shooting happened, and it's more about the law enforcement. So I'll just be detailing that kind of stuff. Yeah, Scribe.
Let's see. I put out 2 videos yesterday. The first was the latest in the Curriculum of Fear series, which has a teacher on a stage basically proselytizing that social justice should be how education is taught, more or less, or how education should be framed around. It's as you might expect, but it's just a little, disturbing that someone is this gung-ho about it, and apparently been doing it at least since the Michael Brown shooting, because she brings that up rather prominently. So you can go watch that. But then later in the day yesterday, I came across a posting on IO9, which is a blog sci-fi-ish kind of thing that's in the same family of blogs as The Root and Jezebel and such. And they posted a story about how a teacher in, I think it was Chicago, had created a curriculum based around Black Panther as a class curriculum you can teach 5th to 8th graders. And essentially, it has 2 parts. It is a history lesson on, Africa
Wakanda?
and
the
what?
I said a history lesson on Wakanda.
Well, in the sense that it's like the first half is here's the history of Africa that may relate to the inspiration to the film. Okay. And you do that before you go see the movie. And then there's the after the movie thing where they go over the characters and how they're dressed or what roles they play relate to African culture and such. And if it was just that, I'd be like, I mean, I've heard of weirder. Hold on. I've heard of weirder things or weirder reasons to try to get kids interested in history. Like, let's go watch Thor. Now let's talk about Norse mythology. The problem is that in the middle of this curriculum, there's a whole page telling whomever is using this, whether it's the teacher involved or anybody that she's advising to teach kids about how slavery still exists, thus we need to eliminate all prisons, let all Black people out of jail because they've all been victims of an unjust, fascist, racist system, and the 13th Amendment didn't free all the slaves because everyone in jail who is Black is still a slave. And I am summarizing that slightly, but I'm not sugarcoating it at all as to what is in this lesson plan. So Go watch the video. There's a link to the whole curriculum document. It's a free thing if you really want to look at it. Again, it's one teacher, one school. It just boggled my mind.
I was just gonna say that like that actually sounds like a good idea because personally, African history, at least at my school, and I think at most schools in the US, does get kind of not ignored, but you go through it a little bit faster. You know, because usually world history is setting up for US history, so you focus a whole lot on Europe. So I don't think that having a broader world history curriculum would be bad at all. But I mean, yeah, if that's what they're suggesting, then that's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, because it's hidden right in the middle. Like I skimmed over, and guys, there's other stuff in that curriculum that I could have talked about. Like at the end of it, they talk about how the female characters in Black Panther relate to Black feminism. I didn't quite get that far, but
That's weird.
Yeah, so far as I could tell, the actual history stuff, and I didn't read it word for word, so maybe there's some, you know, agenda or ideology in there somewhere. But the history of like African slavery and colonialism and how the different countries operated with each other over history, that seemed to be relatively legit. It's just when you get to that one part where it's like, let's talk about how music influences things, and also we need to get rid of all prisons. Like, aha, okay. So it's kind of like I said in the title of the title of the video is The Trojan Panther, because you're kind of like, oh, okay, a class built around Black Panther. Oh, by the way, here's some really extreme the new abolitionist movement, which is to eliminate prisons. So there you go. And right now I'm working on another video. It's a panel discussion by 3 diversity officers from 3 different companies in 3 different industries, purportedly explaining how they do their jobs. And I underscore the word purportedly, but once I get done with it, you'll see what I mean. That's it.
Okay, Monkey?
I didn't do anything. I was sleeping while Little Butt was being watched. I did game with Satsu last night. That was a lot of fun. We had some pretty tense moments there, and those who are watching know what I'm talking about. But just to reiterate to anybody who missed it at the top of the show, starting Monday, Satsu will be sitting in SDA's chair. He will be our new 3rd, and every Monday and Thursday we will be on his channel.
Related to that, I forgot to mention, I do have an ad to read. So if you guys remember on Friday, Terry Diamantis put up a bounty ad and said that the person who donated the most by the end of the stream would be able to request an ad from his donation. And that turned out to be James Colley. And James Colley wanted me to do an ad, and I'm quoting here, flesh out Monkey and Satsu's stream versus Weibo's stream.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to include certain aspects from Satsu and Monkey's streams into this, so I did my best. In the battle for nonsensical live streaming supremacy, 2 Charlie Sheen level winners have emerged from the rubble. Ranting Monkey and Satsu 2 cents in 7 Days to Die versus whatever Weibo Jones's stream is called. The war of words and the contest of popularity hits its peak as Satsu drunkenly rides a bike and Monkey blows himself up with a rocket launcher, while Weibo makes goofy faces in a variety of hats. Can such excellence in entertainment ever hope to be matched? Will this battle of the sexes ever be resolved? Make your choice, true believers. A black guy on a bike with a missile-minded monkey, or a 43-foot schlonged 5-0 in training trap midget. You decide. This message has been brought to you by James Colley and Terry Diamantis.
For the record, Satsu won't let me play with the rocket launcher.
Oh, well, you want to.
I really do.
Yeah, so you're a missile-minded monkey. There you go.
Thank you, Cryptic. Satsu, 2 pesos.
No.
I played with it one time, and I'm not allowed to anymore.
Weibo, I know you're on the Chaos 120, but you have your own streams. You know, you do your own like independent streams from time to time, but okay. Chaos 120 show, guys. When Weibo's not doing her own thing, watch for the Chaos 120.
Do we have any YouTube drama?
V and Jim are going at it.
Over what?
That is a Medicare Jim?
Yeah. V was basically challenging that, or saying that he understands why Jim won't go after the alt-right, because anyone who goes after the alt-right gets doxxed. And Jim is arguing back that no, you're not talking about the alt-right, you're talking about the cow board, who are just a bunch of trolls. I didn't get to see the whole stream on V's channel. I only caught a little bit of it, but there was an argument yesterday on Twitter about it. I think it was maybe the day before. I can't remember. So there's that going on. And that's the only one I've noticed.
I didn't get all the details, but I guess, and this is, I guess, YouTube drama per se, but Twitch changed its terms of service, and a whole bunch of the cleavage streamers are now in trouble or something. I don't quite I don't know the details.
Yeah, they changed their terms of service. So basically, if you're shit talking anyone, so like if you get on your Twitch stream and you're like, you know, Monkey's a piece of shit, that's against their TOS now. Basically,
Well, it should be.
What?
I said, as well, it should be. I'm not a piece of shit.
As well as, yeah, like a lot of the cleavage streamers are in trouble, just because they're kind of basically trying to like get with the decency program. So, you know, cover up your tits and stuff. They're pretty much trying to clean it up. I think they might just be looking at the issues that YouTube is having and kind of preemptively cleaning house.
I had the money, I would start a service called Titty Streamers. I really would.
So that's pretty much it. And, you know, I understand why they're doing it. I understand why people don't like it. But, you know, if you don't like it, don't use the platform, I guess. Is what it is.
Otherwise, I don't know of any drama. I mean, I'm sure I missed something on Twitter because every day there's some kind of drama. But
oh yeah, there was. And this is a channel I've just become aware of. Short Fat Otaku, is that how you say it?
Oh yeah, Short Fat Otaku. Yeah, I've heard of them.
He did a video on JF, going over the court documents that have recently come out about JF. Not the old court documents, not the ones from him trying to get custody of his girlfriend. This is him trying to get custody of his child.
That is so weird. Get custody of your girlfriend?
Yeah, that was what the original case was him trying to get custody of his girlfriend.
What like was like custody as in like, you know, like how a parent gets custody of a kid?
Yeah, in the original one, that was that's exactly what he was doing, because his 19-year-old retarded girlfriend's parents had been given custody of her. Basically, they were made her what's the word I'm looking for?
Her like medical guardians or whatever.
Yeah, and he was trying to get guardianship himself.
Oh, okay.
Well, in this one, it's actually from his divorce and him trying to get custody of his child, which that part we don't have to pay attention to. But there is a psychological eval in there of JF. And all I'm going to say is you guys should watch the video.
Do you have a link? Can you send me a link to it? I want to see it.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find that. It's in my history somewhere.
Okay.
I just remembered Short Fat Otaku. They did a lot of research stuff back when Gamergate was big.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, God, what was it? At the time, they were doing some really, really deep level research into some of the things going on. I don't remember specifically, but that's why the name sounds so familiar.
Let me get the link here. Man, I have seen so many National Rifle Association ads on YouTube lately. All right, the link is inside chat, and I'll throw it in chat here just a second, guys. There you go. If you're a JF fan, you're not gonna like that video.
John. from Swamp.
Can you give us like a little, you know, like what was in the psych eval?
Basically, he's psychotic.
Is this a stream?
No, it's not exactly a stream. It's a video he does with another guy that he does occasionally on his channel, and they just talk about it. So it's kind of set up like a stream, but this wasn't a stream. It's the two of them talking, and it's the video that they made from that.
Okay, sorry, I'm not familiar with the channel, but that's in my watch later because I am curious.
Yeah, it's
I did see a little bit of I guess vitriol between or at least from Philip DeFranco to Ben Shapiro.
are they feuding?
It was
Cryptic the frog.
The frog.
It was something about I think Philly D was calling out Ben Shapiro for suddenly, at least from Philly D's perspective, suddenly taking the principle of not naming shooters by name or not putting their names into articles and things. Whereas Ben had been all the time prior to this. And like he was standing on some moral high ground, I think is the way Philly D kind of framed it.
What?
So Ben Shapiro put out some statements saying we will not, post the names of shooters and give them, attention or whatever.
Yeah.
And Philly D called him out as, well, you didn't, you suddenly decided to do that 7 days ago, whereas before you had no problem naming them, whereas I've been doing it for years or something like that.
See, but the way that he's said it is just like he's glad that they're on board with that policy. I haven't seen anything where he's like, fuck you, I've been doing it longer. I mean, I think he's just like, we've held that value at the show, and and he's happy that other people are doing it too, because we do know that it does prevent copycats. Same thing with teen suicides. Not sensationalizing teen suicides also prevents copycats. I don't know, because like I said, I've seen all the videos where he's talked about it, and I follow him on Twitter, and I haven't seen anything where he's actually being mean about it.
I just retweeted it, so you can take a look. Sorry.
On Blood Sports, real quick, Sofane and Fat Pat got together on Poisoning the Well to talk about the shit Sofane keeps starting. There's a hour and 45-minute live stream from last night. Take a look at that. Those guys are funny anyway, so they made it entertaining as well. Just with Pat, or mostly with Sofane explaining, most of the tweets that Andy got upset about weren't even actually directed at Andy. That's all I know about.
Well, I can kind of see Philip DeFranco. I mean, I'm not saying I super agree with it, but I see where he's coming from, where Ben Shapiro was like super virtue signaling, and Philly D's like, I don't know.
It is weird,
I get it.
You were right. Originally, Philly D was like, cool, way to go.
Yeah. That's what I saw. But yeah, he's being kind of dickish there. I mean, I get it. I don't think he should have done it, because I do think that encouraging. I think this should be like a unity thing where we're like, don't say his name, say the names of the people who died and the people who put themselves in front of bullets to save children or their classmates. But yeah, no, Scribe, you're right. The virtue signaling weirdness. Yeah, I don't really agree with him doing that.
Yeah, that's a complete reversal of when this first happened. Because like he tweeted out like almost immediately about that.
Yeah, he was like, woohoo! Like, happy dance.
I wonder what changed.
I don't know. Yeah, because he was like, I'm really happy about the Daily Wire doing this. That's great.
Yeah.
And then Ben Shapiro says still waiting on other media to adopt it. And I get why he said that, because he's like, we did it because it's the right thing to do. Other people should do it too. So I don't understand Philly's 180.
Weird. Huh. Alrighty then. Maybe they're just trying to get on the Kumite.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Philly D really needs the exposure.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
You're right. Like the Kumite would do wonders for his channel. I feel like then he would be popular.
Yeah, he might get 6 million subscribers then.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
Do we have a deep topic?
I don't.
Well, let's see. I've got what Warner Brothers needs to do to replicate Black Panther's success.
Go back in time like 60 years.
Yeah, you'd think, or like completely not do all the movies you've done. Or it's not so much a deep topic as just another sort of MSS News type story. Schools across the country are banning backpacks amid Florida shooting.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I'm curious.
Yeah, it's real quick. Sorry?
Why?
Well, multiple schools across the country have banned students from bringing in backpacks after a school shooting in Parkland, Florida. Niles McKinley High School in Ohio has already banned backpacks effective immediately. Even though students will be allowed to carry small purses and lunch boxes, the school believes banning backpacks will make every student feel safe. In the same high school a year ago, backpacks were banned after a bomb threat. Manatee County in Florida has also banned backpacks for middle and high school students.
What the fuck, dude? Like, how am I supposed to, like, how are you supposed to carry all your stuff?
Trapper Keeper.
Trapper Keeper.
And for those of you who are old enough to know what that is, congratulations. Let's see. Students who did bring backpacks were thoroughly checked on Friday. WFLA reports schools took the backpacks away from students for the rest of the day, even if they only had paper and pencils, which they were using for the day. Eventually, Manatee County lifted their ban on backpacks and announced there were no plans to institute another temporary ban. Yeah, because somebody said you're a fucking idiot and you got it through your head. Marion High School in Illinois banned backpacks entirely before changing their policy. Currently, students can bring in clear backpacks. Oh, you're not going to be a dork doing that. And must place them in their lockers, according to the police department. Okay, well, there you go.
That's stupid.
Yeah, way stupid. Paranoid. Let's instill some more fear into your school. Anybody with a backpack is now seen as a potential enemy or something. Oh, Jesus. Otherwise, yeah.
I forgot to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Well, we did. Yeah, I did forget to remind him.
Have fun.
Yeah, I didn't tell him about his pills or his bathroom.
Well, I mean, you aren't his mother, so.
Well, you know, I'm a supplementary platonic heterosexual life mate.
The fuck.
Let's see. Just out of curiosity, what does Warner Brothers need to do a Black Panther? I'm gonna use my psychic powers. Make more movies about the black characters from the DC pantheon. That's my guess. This week, every movie studio is likely scrambling to figure out how to replicate Black Panther's success. Yeah. As Marvel's main rival in the realm of comics and movies, all eyes are on Warner Brothers, home of the live-action DC superheroes. Here's a pro tip. The answer is not Cyborg, nor is it John Stewart, the Green Lantern best known from the Justice League animated series. What WB needs is an icon. Okay. Dreamed up by the legendary Dwayne McDuffie in 1993, Icon was a milestone media character that provided a clever riff on the Superman concept. I've never heard of Icon. I think somebody who wrote this is just a big Icon fan. Okay, I'm not even going to go any further because, dude,
I don't know who that is, but that's not saying much.
Yeah, well, I don't know who he is, and I'm a comic book nerd. Granted, more of a Marvel nerd than I'm a DC nerd, but all the same, if I haven't heard of a DC character, even in periphery, you're probably not going to get much market or much bonanza on advertising by bringing up some, you know, C-list DC character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this guy just happens to be a really big Icon fan, I guess. Okay. Anyway, I thought it was something interesting, but it's not. So never mind. Other than that, I don't know. I could look up some root or everyday feminism or something.
Yeah, why don't we do that?
Okay, let's see. What does the root have for us today? Anything exciting, which, of course, it's the root. Why wouldn't it? Let's see. Black Panther sequence. It's Black Panthers all over the place. Black Panther's success spurs Disney to fund STEM centers across U.S.
Okay.
Okay.
Real quick, if I could interject before I forget again.
Yep.
Wednesday, Yosef is going to be joining us again.
Oh, cool.
So tune in for that, guys. We haven't had him on in a couple of months, and he's a really bright guy and fun to talk to.
Oh, a quiz. Oh, you guys want a quiz?
Yes.
Oh my God. All right. Are you hyper-tep? A quiz for people too woke for Black Panther.
Oh.
I'm sure this will be great. This is from Michael Harriot, our usual suspect at The Root. I'm sure this is completely serious too. This is right up there with like the top 10 Star Wars characters, I'm betting. I'm going to skip down to the questions. Okay, so multiple choice. Multiple choice. If you went to Wakanda, you would A, put in an application at the Vibranium mine, B, head straight to the Foot Locker at the Wakanda Galleria for a pair of Kente cloth Jordans, C, buy a Swisher from the Walmart and roll a purple-hearted flower blunt, or D, learn the knowledge and culture and use it to liberate your people.
I'm going to go with a blunt because I'm always in pain.
Yeah. I'll take an application of the Vibranium mine since it was all automated in the movie with robots and shit. I wouldn't have to do much but push a button.
There you go. See, that's just smart. That's white people thinking.
Let's see. 2, white people who dress up to see Black Panther, A, probably dressed up for all the Marvel movies, so this one is no different. You're probably right. B, are hilarious. C, are tone deaf. D, are probably spies trying to see what they can appropriate and call their own, except for that white girl, she's kind of thick.
I think they're trying to appropriate. That's my guess.
They're trying to steal Black Panther from the
Stan Lee.
Yeah, Stan Lee. That's it. Yeah, Stan Lee and was it Jack Kirby? I forget.
I missed a couple of super chats real quick. Thank you, Gregory Hurst. Because the studio that can't get people excited about Batman, Superman, or the Justice League is going to hit it out of the park with Icon. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Thank you, Ace Phoenix. Muslim overheard buying a backpack. Does my bomb look big in this?
Oh.
Thank you, Maggie. DC movie. Kanye Icon played by Kanye. Yeah. Well, I don't know who that is.
I've never heard of the character, so I don't understand. Unless whoever wrote that might have just been trying to show off their nerd cred by knowing some really obscure black DC superhero that's not in the mainstream. Like, here's how hip I am to know this, maybe, but I don't know.
Couldn't they just make a Black Lightning film?
Well, they have a TV series,
right? But I mean, if they want to, replicate the success.
Yeah, I mean, they've got. I mean, they could do a cyborg movie, a spinoff from, I mean, if it's all about just what color skin the person has, you can do that. You could make the Green Lantern movie, the guy from Deadpool, whose name I can't remember all of a sudden, Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, the non-Ryan Reynolds. Then you could just introduce, John Stewart into the universe as the first Green Lantern for the new DC universe. A lot of things you could do if that was your own aim on it. Of course, it would seem pretty cheap and pandering if you just roll out movies with black superheroes off the cuff and just think that that's going to recreate success.
But it could.
Won't. It could, I suppose, but knowing DC and Warner's record with superhero movies so far.
But wait, now hear me out here. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
They've had horrible records with movies, right?
With their recent crop of DC movies, yes.
Okay. So you have a built-in audience that you know is going to go watch it no matter how crappy it is because there's black people in it.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is you pander like a motherfucker so you can have your first real hit.
Thank you,
win.
Dark Shade, Mr. Terrific movie. I don't know what that means.
Oh, Mr. Terrific.
Is that like a Mr. Fantastic joke?
No, Mr.
No,
Terrific
okay.
is a well in the Arrow TV series. I don't know about the comic book. Maybe he's in the comic books as well. I'm not that much of a DC nerd.
I know nothing about DC, obviously.
Yeah. Well, the Arrow TV show, there is a character named Mr. Terrific, and he's black. He's black. He's gay. He's a super scientist, and he's also an Olympic like triathlete or so. They just added everything they possibly could to this character.
No, I don't know that would. You'd have to take away the gay thing because if you actually look at the popularity of the gays amongst the African American community, it's very low. So yeah, you wouldn't want to go gay.
But he doesn't have any superpowers, at least not. I mean, unless he's been granted some in the series in the recent season, because I haven't seen any of the new season yet. But before, he was just a guy who wore a mask. And it's like, oh, that's fine. You know, that's very sort of Batman-ish. He had gadgets, I think, but
I know nothing.
Yeah, no, but I was going. Oh, I think the problem with just Jon Stewart as a movie character trying to recreate Black Panther's success. The problem is Jon Stewart, Cyborg, Icon, as far as I know, these guys aren't steeped in African-ish lore. They're just a black guy who happened to get superpowers. So you kind of lose that whole, this is promoting cultural awareness aspect to the marketing.
Okay, so what you do is you make Roots the comic book.
Hold on. Everybody fucking write this shit down. Monkey's gonna make us rich. Anything else?
No, you make Roots the comic book, and your hero's name is Kunta.
What is the superpowers?
He can take a whipping like a motherfucker.
Oh, Jesus.
Monkey.
He has scar tissue of steel.
By day, he goes by
that
Toby.
Are not okay.
Oh, yeah, his secret identity is Toby. Yeah.
Secret identity is Toby. Yeah, but because of that whipping he's got, I mean, you can hit him in the back and he don't even feel it no more. I think this would be a wonderful thing. And he came from Africa, so it's not like, you know, there's no African lore there.
Honestly, God, Punky. But that would probably win an Oscar. That would be the movie that would win an Oscar. Yeah.
Didn't they just remake the Roots TV series a couple of years ago? I remember correctly.
Yeah,
they did. I never saw it, but I mean, who needs to see that? Just watch the I mean, all joking aside, the original is still really good. If you just watch the original, it's a great miniseries. I mean, and given the era in which it came out, and it's still kind of shocking that they put that on TV. So,
but how much better would that movie have been when that white man is whipping him, going, "What's your name, boy?" And suddenly he just hulks the fuck out and turns around and beats that man to death.
Oh, he goes Super Saiyan, like, whoa!
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I would watch that.
This is $1 million idea for anybody who wants to write that. That's all
I think
it's
a multi-million-dollar idea. Thank you, Dark Shade. If Warner Brothers wants their own versions of Black Panther, all they have to do is make a gorilla.
God,
is that
Gorilla Grodd? Yeah.
Movie set in Gorilla City. I have no idea what any of that
means. Gorilla Grodd is he was a test subject gorilla who was made super duper smart, and he has like psychic powers and telekinetic powers, I think, and he's a big gorilla who's also as smart as like a genius human being, and etc. So
so he's being racist. Okay, got it. I'm with you.
Yes.
Yeah, you caught on to that one.
Yeah, with thanks, Monkey. Sometimes I'm just not racist enough for the jokes.
I wasn't being racist. I think that retake on Roots would be awesome.
No, I'm not saying that's racist. I'm just, it takes me a minute to catch up to the racism sometimes. All right.
Aight.
Okay. You guys just want to, just questions? Yeah, fuck it. Ask questions and shit, please. I'm not
ask questions and shit.
Yes, and shit.
But I like to please. Ask questions.
Feel free to ask questions and go to the bathroom at the same time.
What the scribe?
You said ask questions and shit.
God, shut up.
You did.
People can do that on their phones now. You know, they can just tweet or chat and
I hope poopy. You stub your pinky toe.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Now, Scribe, you don't have a smartphone, so I'm guessing you don't do this. But
No.
SDA, do you use Twitter while you're on the pot?
You're disgusting, and I'm not answering back with you.
Oh, which means yes. Which means yes.
That's not disgusting. I do it.
I'm not. Go away.
One of my favorite posts I ever made on Facebook was I told people we were going to play a game. Guess which post I made from the shitter, and nobody wanted to play my game. I thought it was funny.
Data Wasteland says, "Did you get that light reading I Gmailed you, Scribe? Public Defender no more." I did get it. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. That was quite a wall of text you sent me. I'll try to get to it when I can if I have some time tomorrow.
BG wants your favorite black joke, ranting monkey. Go ahead, demonetize my channel forever. It's fine.
My favorite black joke is
you.
What do you call a black guy who flies planes? A pilot, you racist. That is my favorite black joke.
That's funny.
I don't even
Harvos Marvos says, Scribelight, Mantis and or My Secret Identity, which do you think would be the best remake reboot? Oh God, well, My Secret Identity, I like the idea of Mantis. The execution was completely bug nuts, but you know, that's Sam Raimi's company for you, I think, at the time. I think Mantis would make a better TV show reboot or whatever, because My Secret Identity just had sort of like that one joke to it. It was kind of a Greatest American Hero, but as a little kid. So yeah, Mantis had a bit more fleshed out backstory to it.
Okay. If one is non-binary, how or why can they use a computer? Ha ha.
Har.
I miss cryptic jokes. Cryptic, tell a joke, please.
Oh God.
What? Thank you, Mule 1066. What is going on?
Now, so White Hayton Coon is a comic book character from the movie Chasing Amy. There's a great little clip you can find on YouTube where the guy's talking about his comic book, and he's just like, he's dressed up like a Black Panther, like one of the Black Panthers from the 60s. And the speech he gives about Star Wars and everything is one of the classics of cinema.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool, dead air feels good.
Uzi Q, yes, I can see Uzi Q.
Oh, I forgot to switch to all chat. Whoops.
I only have top chat on. Do I?
Sarah Plyer said, "SDA, where would one be able to purchase your book?" It will be available on Amazon, and I'll be super in your face about it when you can pre-order it.
Data Wasteland says, "Do you remember Lancelot Link's Secret Chimp?" Of course, Lancelot and Mata Hari, and the banana splits and all that fun stuff. If you're old enough to remember the reruns they put on like Nickelodeon, which is where I saw it. I'm not that old that I saw it when it first came out or anything.
Okay. What else we got?
Robert Lang says, is the Hog Kid related to Boss Hog? Probably.
What? I don't know what that means either.
That's Dukes of Hazzard.
Boss Hog was Dukes of Hazzard.
Okay.
He was the bad guy.
Straight Sith Male, Scribelight, do you have and can you grow a beard? Yes and yes. But I don't have a beard so much as I just have a very finely kept goatee. Put it that way.
Scribelight, do you think Disney will be able to get Star Wars back on track?
Only if Kathleen Kennedy stops being the person at the top and, someone else be given the decision making, because you need to get, if you want quality Star Wars movies, you have to get filmmakers who know what they're doing. Handing it off to guys who have like 2 movies under their belt to write and direct a Star Wars film is not the best idea. You need to split those, you need to divide that labor up. You need to have a writer, you need to have a director. They can't be the same person. That's why we have Empire Strikes Back, because you had a actual director and a decent writer. Yeah, anyway.
All right. Thank you, Russell Dixon. I'd like to see a remake of the Song of the South. Thank you, Dark Shade. Are any aliens of any skin color instantly considered white by by these representation pushers. What?
You mean any like out of country individuals? No. You know, if somebody comes from Germany, they're not going to be considered in the same ballpark, I don't think, as someone from. Well, I guess it depends if you're talking about like illegal people who are here illegally. I mean, a person here illegally from Germany isn't going to get the same amount of sympathy necessarily than a person illegally here from Honduras, let's say. I don't think.
SDA, are you sure you're from Georgia? Don't know. I mean, I know what the Dukes of Hazzard are. I've just never seen the show.
She's young, man. That's an old show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just I mean, like getting me to watch anything is like pulling teeth, dude. Thank you, Dark Shades Space Aliens.
Oh, space. I don't know. Depends. Is it brother from another planet?
What's your favorite sci-fi novel?
Favorite sci-fi novel. This might be a little cliche, but honestly, it's probably Neuromancer. Somewhere between Neuromancer and the first Ender's Game before we got all those stupid sequels, Ender's Shadow and all that stuff. Because Ender's Game was really good. Before all the hype and everything else. But Neuromancer, even though some of the futuristic technology in there is now kind of dated, which is kind of creepy, it's still a really good sort of sci-fi noir. And I think that what you're seeing now on Netflix with Altered Carbon and Mute is that cyberpunk is making a real interesting comeback already. Blade Runner 2047 or whatever.
Bag Comic Reviews said, can we pre-order SDA's book? You will be able to. Like I said, it's not available for pre-order yet. But if you follow Teresa J. Martin on Twitter and you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you will be notified the second you can pre-order anything.
Kelvin Robinson, can Black Lightning fly in the TV show? I haven't seen the TV show yet. So if he does, it's probably relatively limited. I think. I don't know. I mean, Supergirl can fly all over the place, but I don't know what their budget is.
Has there been any backlash from Luke Cage dating a white chick?
Well, I mean, ever? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, he's not going to. I don't think the relationship between him and Jessica Jones continues in the TV show. In the comic books, they got married and had a kid and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But if there was any controversy, I personally am not aware of it. I would be surprised if somewhere someone gave a shit.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Especially when, was it the guy who played Killmonger? I forget his name. Wasn't he dating a white chick and got shit for it? Oh,
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
No, I think the guy who plays Black Panther was.
Okay, one of the two. I know that.
Yeah, one of them was. Yeah, got some backlash for it.
Or in real life.
In real life.
Well, that's fucked up.
It's fucking retarded. Yeah, but I was just wondering because I mean, with all of the. If you can give him shit for real life doing that, can't you give a character the same shit?
Oh, you can. I mean, we remember when Chris Evans and the guy who plays, I think, Hawkeye, they were making jokes about how slutty Black Widow was for like going after Captain America and the Hulk and everything. People got offended, like, oh, how dare you talk about Black Widow that way? That's sexist. And then I forget exactly what he said, but the guy who played Hawkeye went on a talk show and was just like, yeah, she's made up.
Yeah,
she's not a real person, guys. Just so you know. Like,
Harbo says, do either of you remember the video nasty craze back in the 80s? Any of those movies you watched and enjoyed? I'm not sure what that means.
The video nasties were kind of like a list of really controversial films. I think it was a British thing more than it was an American thing. Like these were movies that were sort of like banned more or less. I don't remember specifically what some of them were. I think I Spit on Your Grave was one of them. I could be mistaken. You'd have to give me some titles because I don't remember exactly what was on the list. But you like Pink Flamingos. Yeah, Pink Flamingos would be something that's like a video nasty, probably. It's that category if you've ever seen Pink flamingos. Ellie Burke says, Scribe, since you are in the BDSM community, whatever that means, honestly, I'm curious what your perspective is on the 50 Shades franchise. I think it is very badly written, very successful one-handed reading for women and men as well who want a bit of cheap titillation. I don't think it's at all reflective of what a healthy power exchange should be in real life, but then it's fantasy and fiction. So there you go. If you want slightly higher quality such stuff, you want to go after the Sleeping Beauty trilogy by Anne Rice. The first book is probably the best of the three. The other two kind of decay in quality, but it's much, much better writing than what E.L. James has done. So there you go.
I have a question for you, because I'm not into BDSM and all that. So I'm very curious about this, and I'm very curious about your answer.
Okay.
Is ripping a woman's tampon out like typical of BDSM?
Typical? No.
That does actually happen in the books.
Yeah. Typical? No. Everybody's got a fetish, I suppose. And well, there's one caveat I will give. Just about anything that can seem like degradation or a violation can be part of a power exchange given the circumstances. So something like that, you know, the intent means more than the actual action. You know, what is the result of that? Doing that, you know, causes humiliation, etc. Then that can be totally part of a power exchange situation. Specifically pulling a tampon out, no, that's nothing that is sort of like common. But
Okay.
again, yeah, it's not necessarily the action so much as the result that you get and that kind of thing.
I can live with that answer. That makes sense.
Kind of like fucking someone with a plunger.
I still think it's weird.
Yeah.
But that whole book is fucking weird. So
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like something's more common, but probably on the same level. Like, again, I haven't read the books, so I don't know what he was doing in that situation. I can imagine what is, but like, you know, it's kind of a cliche thing where a guy will get a girl to like take off her panties in the middle of a dining room at a restaurant or something and hand them to him.
Oh, sure.
As sort of as a exercise in the power he has over her, and also to give her like an embarrassing moment or a risky moment or whatever to induce humiliation and degradation and stuff. And so, yeah, like I say, that equates the same kind of result, I suppose, as yanking out her tampon or whatever.
I feel that's a little different.
It is a little different, but then E.L. James is going for shock value more than like practicality. So let's see. Scribe Light Ranting Monkey. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think we're reading the same one. Have you seen the previews to The Incredibles 2? Wife Elastigirl is the hero. Husband hero is the house husband and baby care duty. I saw the previews, but I never watched the original movie. So,
the first one's great. It's interesting because Pixar / Disney basically stole the whole concept of the Fantastic Four. They just didn't call it the Fantastic Four and made it into a family film, which is fine. It's interesting that happened like years before Disney would eventually buy Marvel, but not get the Fantastic Four. I saw the preview. It looks like it's in the same vein as the first one, so I'll probably see it. Whatever. They want to do some role reversal of having Elastigirl be the hero and the guy be at the stay at home. Well, that was the opposite in the first movie, so whatever. Scribe, excuse me. Secretary, and what do you think? Secretary is a great. If you want to see something that's far better than 50 Shades of Grey for showing off power exchange and DS relationships and such, Secretary is great. James Spader is great. Maggie Gyllenhaal is great. The whole thing is just. I really like that movie. It's now kind of a staple viewing for kinky people. You know, it's just relatively lighthearted, but it's good.
What else we got here? The speed at which a woman says nothing when asked what's wrong is inversely proportional to the severity of the oncoming storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's our favorite Star Trek series? What do you like, Monkey?
TNG.
Oh, that was from Shattered Cat.
The Next Generation is by far my favorite.
Thank you, Gregory Hurst. When he pulls the tampon, he pulls out the tampon, does confetti poof out? No, it should, now that you say that, but it doesn't, unfortunately.
My favorite series of Star Trek is probably DS9, just because there was more at stake, and there was, whereas TNG was really, really, really episodic. DS9, especially in the later seasons, had a meta arc going over with the whole Dominion War and everything. And there's that one episode, I think it's called like Devil in the Moonlight or something like that, where Cisco has to orchestrate like something. He basically orchestrates a murder in order to bring the Romulans into the war in order to fight back against the Dominion. And he goes through this whole thing of like saying, you know, I may have just saved the Alpha Quadrant, but I also am an accessory to murder, but I think I can live with that. It's really creepy episode, especially coming from like a Starfleet captain. So I think DS9 overall is probably my favorite.
I've seen one of the Star Trek movies. Other than that, I haven't seen a minute of Star Trek, so I can't answer that question.
Oh, I love me some Trek.
Mr. Baker says, Scribely, what's your other channel called again? It's called Non-Author Dark. I haven't put anything on there in months, so there's nothing new there. But if you want some sort of basic, sort of spoken word stuff regarding BDSM, there you go. I'll put it in chat just in case. Let's see.
More questions there?
Paige says, Ben Sisko's my favorite captain next to Kirk from the OG series. Yeah, Sisko had a much more interesting character development over the series, and he's far more sort of intense, which was different than most of the other captains. I mean, Kirk could be sort of intense in places, but he was, relatively sedate most of the time and kind of agreeable. Sisko was always like 3 steps away from getting pissed off all the time.
Sisko was mad all the time.
Yeah. Let's see.
I also didn't like that they had his kid on there. I find that a cheap.
He was better than Wesley by a million miles. Was he better than Wesley? Yeah. But that was
it's better than Wesley.
Well, yeah. That was kind of the thing, is that the kid had to be there to remind that Sisko lost his wife against the Borg, and that's why Sisko was so intent on sort of like preventing another massacre, and that's why it became more relevant when the Dominion War started. But yeah.
Hi, Monday, Matt. What's going on? He's in chat.
Oh, hey, Matt.
Jenna P wants to know what's planned for SDAs last week. I don't know.
Plan? We have a plan?
We're gonna try not to have dead air all week.
There you go.
Yeah.
Matt was on the Saints the other night.
Oh, was he? Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him there with Jeff Holiday and Devil. Wait. Why do I suddenly forget? Wizard of a Cause. I was about to say Devil Without a Cause. I was like, God, I got Kid Rock on the brain. What the fuck?
Great album, by the way.
Yeah, that is his best album. I only have the one, so that's all I know.
I like Cocky, but Devil Without a Cause was better.
John Smith says Captain Janeway. Janeway.
No.
Voyager, except for individual episode concepts, Voyager sucked.
Ellie Burke said, you guys keep good joking about finding a replacement for SGA. Is this something legitimately happening, or are y'all just joking? I can't tell sometimes. Nope, it's legitimate. My last night will be March 3rd, so Saturday night, which actually is Jinx's first birthday.
Oh.
So, yeah, the puppy will be a year old on Saturday. But yeah, that's my last day. And then next Monday, they will start up with Satsu. And the Lords of the Night will be on his channel. That's what's going on.
Yep.
We're going black, and you know what they say.
Uh-oh.
Someone suggested that you call that your token minority scene.
So Matt is at the gym, apparently. So get a good workout there, Matt. I guess. Or I wonder if Matt's like a CrossFit type of guy.
Matt, are you CrossFit type of guy?
Have you ever met some of the CrossFit disciples? People take CrossFit really seriously. I mean, some people I've met, they sound like they're in a cult, honestly.
Thank you. Nope. Lame. Well, you know, it is what it is.
Devil Fruit Zero, Scribblade, did you see the actor who played Cisco react to being asked in a comic book convention or something what it is like to be a black Star Trek captain? He told that guy off. I can imagine. I mean, Avery Lewis. Avery Brooks. Sorry, Avery Lewis. Avery Brooks.
I still like him better as Hawk. Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, Hawk. Oh man, and Spencer for Hire. Yeah, he's an intense guy. If you ever, and he's also kind of weird. I'm not quite sure if he's quite right in the head anymore. There's a documentary movie that William Shatner did called The Captains, where he goes around and talks to every actor who's played a captain in the Star Trek franchise thus far, leading up to Chris Pine in the Star Trek reboot. And when he's talking to Avery Brooks is either acting crazy or he really is crazy. I'm not quite sure which, but
SDA is getting married. Yes, she is in July.
Yay!
To Bay.
Baby.
In Australia.
Baby's
Baby's kids.
kids.
We already have a son together, and we've been engaged for over a year, so we just thought it was time to tie the knot.
Robin Harris, man, he died way too young.
Yeah. Baby's kids.
Baby's kids.
Baby's kids. There's a video game for Baby's kids.
Is there really? I knew they
I'm
did a TV
so
show.
lost.
I think it was it was either a Super Nintendo or maybe an N64 game, I forget, or whatever, but it wasn't very good. I remember that it was the Nostalgia Critic reviewed that video game in a crossover where Video Game Nerd did a movie review and Nostalgia Critic had to do a video game review as a sort of a switch up. And that was Nostalgia Critic's pick to do Baby's Kids.
Jamil in chat says it was the SNES.
SNES, okay.
The Super Nintendo.
Hi, Super Nintendo Chalmers. Netriomi says, SDA, are you going to let the Bay from down under touch you down under?
A lot of interest in where y'all touch each other. What else we got, guys? Questions, comments, concerns, things that you think we could, don't make me just start talking. We know what happens when y'all do that. Hello?
God damn it. Stop.
Why Scribe muted?
What? Because he got bopped for asking a depraved question about Bay.
You muted him?
Yeah, I muted him. I bopped him.
That's not a bop. That's a mute.
Well, he can unmute him. Well, it's the only bop I have.
Wait,
okay?
why the hell did you mute me? I've been talking
because you asked a depraved question about Bay.
I asked a question that was in the chat. I've been talking for like 5 minutes. You muted me? Hell.
Bopped. I've bopped Monkey. I feel like. Yeah.
I've been muted and locked out of chat, so I feel your pain, man.
All right. Well,
don't ask depraved questions about Bay, and you won't get bopped.
Sorry, whoever question I answered that I wasn't heard answering.
Yeah, SDA is getting married. It's a thing. Don't worry about it. SDA plan. Hey, look! Don't say terrible things about Bay, and you.
I didn't say terrible. What the fuck? I read a question from somebody. Holy cow!
She's gonna be in trouble for her last days here. I'm not in trouble. Scribe's in trouble. What are your strategies for dealing with a roommate that leaves behind too many crumbs and trash after making their food?
Murder.
Move out.
Yeah, I don't know. You can try bopping them. I find it's a great way to deal with people who are annoying you.
Inquisitor says Monkey muted Polly on his own stream. Yes, I did. And that was funny as fuck.
He's done that to me as well. Like, there have been times where he's just felt like fucking with me and he just mutes me and I don't notice.
It's funny how long it takes you to notice.
Yeah, well, because I'm not looking at the thing, because I'm paying attention to things I should be paying attention to. Just swap tabs to double check. I don't trust you, though. Scribelight, we've both been muted by SDA. We are brothers in the struggle. See, Scribe, there's a therapy group for you.
Oh, good.
Hashtag bopped by SDA.
His name was Robert Paulson. His name was Robert Paulson.
What?
Nothing.
I'm so confused.
Therapy group, Fight Club, Robert Paulson, bitch tits.
Oh.
Nope.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. I make connections that are obscure sometimes.
Scribelight, that letter will surprise and shock you. I would love a email back and I can give you some background on it.
Okay. I'll take a look when I get a chance. Being surprised and shocked, my favorite.
Data Wasteland, I have a question. Why do you type in all caps? Like, I'm just asking. Like, I'm not mad, but I'm curious.
Because he's a fan of testosterone.
I'm not laughing at that.
Wait.
What?
Nothing.
I'm just curious. Bopped by SDA Me Too. Yeah, it's the new Me Too movement. It's the new big thing. SDA, you haven't watched Fight Club? No.
I watched it once. I wasn't impressed.
I've never seen Fight Club.
You weren't you didn't care for it. What's wrong with you people?
Well, I haven't seen it. Like, it's not.
That's bad enough.
All right, fine. Caps lock is cruise control for cool. That's fine. Like, I don't know. I caps lock a lot. It's fine. Fight Club was awesome. I've heard it's a good movie.
It's not a horrible movie. I just don't get why everybody loves it so much. It's an okay movie. But yeah, I don't know. It just didn't seem, it wasn't that good in my opinion. Let's make some soap. What the hell are we talking about here?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Wait, why? What's soap for?
There's a plot point in Fight Club about making soap because the character Brad Pitt plays sells custom-made soap, and he makes his soap from fat he steals from liposuction clinics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice, sweetie. I love you.
Knowing the origin of soap, that's interesting.
Ace says it was crap, and that's why we don't talk about Fight Club. Well played.
Ace, do you not actually like it? I'm curious. Like, I don't know. I don't know how people feel about this. What's the worst thing about being a pedophile fitting in? God, I need to read before I read out loud.
Yeah, you really do.
My experience with Fight Club is people either love it or hate it. I've met very few people who are like, meh.
What's it about?
That's
it's
a
hard
question to answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gotta watch it.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend watching it.
Well, just tell me what happens.
Okay, no. See, if we see the whole thing is give away. You can't talk about the movie without giving away some big secrets.
Away.
No, I don't want to give it away to somebody who hasn't seen it yet. I don't want to ruin the movie for someone who has not yet seen the movie. You're either going to watch it or
I'm not going to watch it.
Well, then I'll tell you after the stream.
Ace says no, it was good. He was just cracking a joke.
Okay.
Magnificent Bastard says it's about a book club. What did you think about the Odo character versus Data versus Spock as best outsider in Trek? I go with Data. I like Spock. Odo was Odo was lame Spock, in my opinion. I like Data because you had the outside view of humanity. One of my favorite scenes with him is where he's boiling water, and he's like, it boils at the same time.
Yeah.
So for me, it was him, just because they could do a lot more with it.
Well, Odo was completely different than Data and Spock. If you're talking about, like, you know, the question of humanity and everything, that I don't remember that being a really big thing about Odo. I mean, identity was kind of the thing with Odo, not so much like humanity. So I don't think they're in the same realm, so to speak. I think the dynamic between Odo and Quark was sort of its own character in and of itself, like order versus chaos, or the law versus crime. I like that dynamic. But otherwise, yeah, I think I like Data a bit better than Spock, at least as far as those two are concerned, because yeah, Data had more humor to him. He had much more excuse to be a fish out of water with so many things.
Yeah, you didn't really get that with Spock until Star Trek IV.
Yeah. Yeah, Data's like boiling water, and I think he's talking to Riker. He's like, Commander, every time I boil this, it boils at exactly the same time. The old phrase "watched pot never boils" doesn't seem to apply here.
Yes.
And he's like, well, you have to like not pay attention to it. Like, my chronometer says blah blah blah. I says, well, we'll turn off your chronometer. Okay. And then suddenly boils, and Data's like, huh?
Yeah, he was a great. The whole question of humanity just worked better with him.
You know what the creepiest episode, or the most awkward Data episode was? When he tried having a relationship with that other lady, and he got into a fight with her. And she's like, why are you acting like this? And it's like, well, we're having a fight. A lover's spat. And she's like,
yes.
That was such a weird episode. That was creepy, though.
Let's see. Favorite obscure album? I couldn't even tell you.
Obscure album. Robert Bradley's Blackwater Surprise. There you go. That might not be super obscure, but it's, most people I know never heard of it. Oh, Mr. Baker says movies we should have watched should be The Negotiator. If I had a copy of it.
Oh yeah, great movie.
Yeah, although I don't know if we can watch it now that Kevin Spacey's like persona non grata. I'm only partially kidding there, guys.
Yeah, it's sad because that is a great movie, and yeah, that is something that if we did that, I would have to bring up. By the way, this guy likes to rape men.
Yeah.
Okay, not rape men, but
on the bright side, because he's so unpopular, the movie might be on sale.
Could be. Oh, have you ordered a copy of Ice Pirates yet, Monkey?
No, I keep forgetting to do it, and I'll do that tomorrow.
Okay.
It's not something I'm opposed to. I just have the memory of lint.
The memory of lint. That sounds like a book title, like some deep, like life story book title. It's like that's your biography title right there. Ranting Monkey, A Memory of Lint. That's There you go. SDA, get to writing that. You can be his ghostwriter.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
The Memory of Lint by Ranting Monkey, a chronicle of things I've forgotten.
Monkey.
Yeah.
Can you do the thing?
Oh, is it that time?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Chat, thank you guys so much for coming. Thanks for the donations. Thanks for hanging out with us every night. Don't forget to subscribe to SDA's new channel. It is in the description. Subscribe, SDA. A pleasure as always. Everyone, your life makes me sad. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.